Deputy Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, the Governor of the capital city, Deputy Prime Minister of Solomon Islands, Honorable Ministers who are here with us, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. The issue and role of local government in enhancing development of local communities, cities, has been well acknowledged and noted. It is well acknowledged in many good governance declarations, as we just heard in the Commonwealth Heads of Government declarations, in the Pacific Islands Forum declarations of good governance, as well as in the United Nations. That role is well established and perhaps is hardly requiring any further need to further be digested and advocated. Coming from a small island nation of Tuvalu, and having been just appointed as patron to the Commonwealth Pacific Local Government Forum, it is a great honor for me as Prime Minister of Tuvalu to have been given that privilege. Until this afternoon, when I received a briefing from Carl and Lawrence, I had not the slightest clue what the role of a patron of this forum should play. My wife is patron of the Tuvalu National Non-Governmental Organizations, TANGO. And since her appointment to that role 9 months ago, I have been trying to understand what work is she doing as a patron. Because the only TANGO work that I have seen her doing is to attend many workshops and enjoy the food there. Free of charge, of course, to her. But let me say from the outset that we are very touched in Tuvalu. And I personally is very touched for this election, if you wish, to this very prestigious position. And I want to assure this august body that I will do my best to advance or play the roles of being a patron to your forum. Let me also say in the beginning that I have also a prepared text of my speech that, that I was asked to deliver this afternoon. Then I was advised, no, you're going to read that speech tomorrow, just before the Prime Minister O'Neill. So I hope you can excuse me for speaking off the cuff, because I also believe that tonight we should go straight to actions of enjoying the meal tonight, rather than boring you with more of the speeches. But let me say that the role of local governments in advancing development, particularly sustainable development, is crucial, particularly for our nations coming from a small island developing stage. And the processes of relooking at that, or redefining that role is very, very crucial, given that over the many years, despite the level and the substantive amount of ODA that has been poured into the economies of these small island nations, nothing much has progressed. Small island developing states of the Pacific are always in the game of catching up. They never reach there. Sustainable development is always a runaway thing for us. And I think you and I know, especially if you come from a rural, small village on a small, isolated island in the Pacific. It's always a runaway, a dream, to be able to catch up with the benefits of integration, of globalization, and so on and so forth. we have to answer the question, why? We have to relook at how we approach development. Is it too much bureaucracy, too much top-down bureaucracy that is stopping the people accessing real development and sustainable development? I think so. I totally believe we have been forgetting about the real people, the people in the rural area, outer islands, and the role that governments for those people should play. Just before coming to on this trip, beginning of the year, I was invited to many regional and international meetings. But I told my cabinet, no, I'm never going to leave Tuvalu until I visit all the islands of Tuvalu first, because I want to hear what are their real concerns and what are their aspirations coming from their mouths, not through the reports of island executives, island secretaries, or even members of parliament especially. When they raise, coming from the opposition, when they raise this in parliament, I want to go beyond these. So I took a trip on a ship, very far, very rough seas, but I went. And I was very happy, because even though by profession I'm a teacher, and I have been to these islands many times, the insights I've received going as a leader, talking with the people, visiting the schools, are much more enriching, much more enriched. And you know what? The best messages that came out, aspiring for proposals, came from the children, from the preschool. The preschools were demonstrating their proposals, aspirations for sustainable development through their songs and poems. And all asking me as a leader, do we have a future? So I think it gives me a strong signal that we must listen to the voice of the small man. Not only the politicians coming and blah, 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 blah in parliament, but also go out and reach out to the villages and rural and listen to the voices of the small man. Why? Because they own the islands. They own the resources. They own the systems. They have their own cultures and traditional ways of sustaining life. We must harness that richness by listening to the people. And therefore the role of the local government is never of any diminution. It's very critical. So I'm very happy to have been appointed as patron, and hopefully during the course of this week, of few days rather, I will become more educated about the role of being a patron and be able to play those roles. And let me say that other than the semantics or building the capacity to understand better the role of local government, I think I must stress that it is also important to properly network between the processes that are ongoing, the UN processes, the Pacific Islands Forum processes, and then, of course, the upcoming meeting in Apia, Samoa. We cannot be duplicating or sending different signals. We must network properly to make sure that our message on the role of local government is heard clearly and be part of the outcomes of those processes. So therefore, I suggest we must come out here, from here, with a clear outcome document that can be input into particularly the process at the Conference on Small Island Development States in Apia, Samoa. That is critical for the future sustainable development and security of Pacific states, all of us. In closing, I want to offer my congratulations to Papua New Guinea government for hosting this very important forum. And thank you for the invitations, Governor. Certainly we're going to continue to enjoy the beauty of your country. And with those words, I want to thank you all for the time, the opportunity for me to speak tonight. Thank you.